The U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments this week for a case determining the legality of so-called conversion therapy. Historically, conversion therapy referred to therapy aimed at turning gay people straight. But trans activists say this term is also applicable to trying to convince a trans person to accept their natural body. Here with the details is Daily Wire reporter Amanda Prestigiacomo. So, Amanda, this case is called Childs versus Salazar. Who are these parties and what's the dispute?
Yeah, so the plaintiff is a Christian counselor named Kaylee Childs. She's challenging a law in Colorado that's been dubbed the minor conversion therapy law. It was passed back in 2019 by a Democrat-controlled legislature, and it bans counseling that, quote, attempts or purports to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity. So, for example, if a young girl is struggling with gender dysphoria and that girl and her family are seeking professional help for this, the counselor, family therapist, or any other licensed mental health practitioner, they're only allowed to affirm these feelings of gender confusion. If they go any other route, they're facing fines up to $5,000 and a revocation of their license. Childs recently spoke to Daily Wire host Isabel Brown about this case.
There are adolescents, there are their families who are suffering right now. I am allowed to help people who are seeking something like a gender transition, and I am simply not allowed to help somebody of a different mind. And all of those people don't have access to care right now.
So this has been one of the arguments from Childs' legal team, Alliance Defending Freedom. First of all, they say Childs is currently being investigated by the state of Colorado over this law, and they've stressed that minors are being deprived of her services. Now, you can extrapolate that out. I mean, there are dozens of states with some version of these so-called conversion therapy bans. And according to ADF, they've emphasized that up to 90% of minors will grow out of their gender confusion. So, in theory, that's a lot of people without necessary assistance.
Now, the state of Colorado is responding to this. They want to retain the right to create regulations like this one, determining how therapy is conducted in their state. What's their argument for that?
Yeah, that's right. So the state is arguing that this is not a free speech issue, and instead they're regulating conduct and medical treatment, which they say is permitted, even if that medical treatment is only speech, like talk therapy. That's why they say the law is constitutional. And they say it's necessary in their view because talk therapy that doesn't affirm gender confusion is harmful to children. They base that on experts and the so-called medical consensus. That's why, again, they say that it's necessary for the state to control how therapy is practiced.
So how were these arguments received at the Supreme Court? Did the justices signal which way they're leaning?
Yeah, they did. I mean, it seemed pretty clear from oral arguments that they're leaning in favor of the plaintiff. And that's not just the conservative justices. Liberal Justice Elena Kagan, for example, she seemed to side with Justice Alito, who said that the Colorado law seemed like, quote, blatant viewpoint discrimination. Here's Kagan.
If a doctor says, I know you identify as gay, and I'm going to help you accept that. And another doctor says, I know you identify as gay, and I'm going to help you to change that. And one of those is permissible, and the other is not. That seems like viewpoint discrimination.
Also, on this matter of the medical consensus, the court didn't seem convinced either. Here's Alito pressing Shannon Stevenson, Colorado's Solicitor General.
But have there been times when the medical consensus has been politicized, has been taken over by ideology? I mean, was there a time when there were many medical professionals who thought that every child born with Down syndrome should be immediately put in an institution?
I don't know that, Your Honor.
So when can we expect a ruling on this?
Yeah, it's expected to come down in the summer of 2026. And if we're reading the tea leaves right and an overturning of this Colorado law does happen, this could influence similar laws in dozens of other states.
Well, a very consequential case and definitely one that's been a long time coming. Amanda, thanks for reporting.
You're welcome.